A lot of trade ideas going around for the Detroit Pistons offseason. One of them really caught my attention, and we need to deal with it accordingly. Let's talk about it right here. Top title Detroit. Let's go.
Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
What's good? Welcome to Top Title Detroit. I am Eric Vincent, your host and Detroit Pistons beat reporter for ClutchPoints.com. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time. Make sure you support the channel. Make sure you like the video. Please subscribe as well so we can run the numbers up and grow the community here at Top Title Detroit. Tell a friend to lock in. I would really appreciate the love. We got to get into something I saw floating around on social media. I didn't think it would get this kind of attention, but here we are, and I feel like we need to address it. Bleacher Report put out a story and a tweet about a trade idea that the Pistons could execute with the Boston Celtics, moving Jaden Ivey and 2 future first-round picks for Derrick White and Baylor Shearman from the Celtics. Now it's the offseason mode, so we're going to see a lot of these ideas, a lot of speculation and kind of random, ideas that could shake up some rosters by the time the season starts. And again, I didn't think this trade would stir up this much controversy because I don't really understand who people think Derrick White is. I really don't understand this at all. Granted, I understand there's a lot of conversation around Jaden Ivey's name because he's injured, because he's had, the up and downs through the Monty Williams days, even coming up to now with basically how he played this season where he averaged career high numbers across the board. People still are very high on the idea of using him as a trade piece to lure in somebody else to make the Pistons roster a little bit better. Now, to an extent, I can understand the idea because it's not likely that an entire young core of draftees are going to remain together through the duration of their career. I understand that. But again, who the hell do y'all think Derrick White is? I don't understand this, bro. I really don't. Derrick White is a fine player, a very, useful role player for the Boston Celtics, was the same way with the Spurs before he got traded to them. But again, he's a role player, and I think that needs to be kept in mind as we have this conversation. Jaden Ivey, we don't really know who he is yet at this point. He was in his third season before the injury in January, but at this point has only played really 2.5 seasons based on the injury that he had against the Orlando Magic. And in each season, we have seen Jaden Ivey take a step forward in basically every department. There are some areas he still needs to develop in. He definitely needs to cut his turnovers down, can keep improving as a defender, and the Pistons really need him to improve as a rim finisher as well. Also can get his numbers up a little bit higher from the free throw line as well. There's clear improvement needed for Jaden Ivey's game that'll suit the Pistons very well. But the idea of dealing him in exchange for a guy like Derrick White makes no damn sense to me at all. I don't understand it. I truly don't. And I think y'all gotta stop gassing this man Derrick White name. You gotta stop. I don't understand this at all. I truly feel like the term impact on winning, which has been coined ever since, the Cade Cunningham Rookie of the Year conversation happened, where he lost to Scotty Barnes and didn't really get in favor over Evan Mobley because Barnes and Mobley's teams were winning, and the voters looked at the impact of winning to be more valuable than what Cade Cunningham was doing for the Detroit Pistons. So now you look at all these role players who have assignments on a team, and they're like the third, maybe fourth or fifth best players on their team. And if they do their role good enough, people are gassing up these names to think that these guys are better than they are. And the fact of the matter is that they're not. They are truly not, bro. And again, this is not me telling you that Jaden Ivey's better than Derrick White or that Derrick White is a trash player. I'm not saying any of that. Derrick White has value, his skill set has value, and it's better suited to me for a team that is ready to win a championship. There would be value for him on the Pistons, but if you were to make this deal, you are crippling your ability to truly grow as a team if you are going to look at Derrick White to be your second best player in replacement of Jaden Ivey. I don't understand what people are thinking of this, so let's break it down a little bit more. I don't think bringing in Derrick White really serves the Pistons in the way that people are trying to act like. Here's what I mean by that. Jaden Ivey, again, he has room for improvement, but what we know about Jaden Ivey is that he brings more value in his position as a 23-year-old right now than what Derrick White would bring in his value at the moment. Let me break that down to what I mean. Derrick White is a shooter. He's a defender. He has shown the ability to sporadically on occasion be able to generate his own shot or shots for others. We also know the Boston Celtics love chucking up threes at a ridiculously high rate. That was what they were doing all postseason, and it got them knocked off against the Knicks, which also was a part of Jason Tatum's injury as well. But looking at the way he plays, let's say you bring in, let's say the Pistons want to bring the band back. Let's say they want to look at their free agents. They want to bring Malik Beasley back. Let's say they somehow bring back Tim Hardaway Jr. on a friendly deal, like 1 or 2 years or whatever it is. And you basically run it back with the same team plus Ivy and plus a healthy Stewart. Let's say they do that. If you were to take Ivy out of that and you bring Derrick White into that rotation, you already have shooting in your lineup in your rotation? Yeah, you have shooters in Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley, who is one of the best shooters in the league. Cade can be a little spotty with his three-point shot, but he can still show the efficiency and the capability of being a threat from the three-point line. Tobias Harris, also a shooter for this team. We have shooters on this roster already. Bringing in Derrick White does not necessarily elevate to a point or provide you something that you don't already have on your roster. You also have defense that he'll be bringing in as well. Would he be the number one defender on the team? No, you already have that in Asar Thompson, who has, to me, I think a way higher defensive ceiling than Derrick White does. I think he can guard more positions. He's way faster, and I think he would help generate more and better transition buckets for the Pistons than Derrick White would. Meanwhile, looking at the Pistons roster, who again are a young team, they're very athletic. They're looking to grow in experience under JB Bickerstaff. What they've been missing in Jaden Ivey is that second ball handler. Somebody else that can take the pressure off of Cade Cunningham, generate the offense while Cade is on the bench, or maybe while Cade is getting double teamed by his oppositions. You need somebody else that can be athletic and in control enough to generate offense for this team the way we've seen Jaden Ivey do it. He's shown the ability to collapse defenders to him as he drives and kick to an open shooter. He's shown in his rookie season under Dwayne Casey, and even after that as well, that he's able to drive to the hoop and drop off lobs or dunks to Beef Stew or for Jalen Duren or a cutter as well. He's also shown the ability to cut off ball, catch a pass from Cade Cunningham, and be a secondary playmaker as well, catching around the free throw line and then dropping it off to Duren for an easy dunk as the bigs maybe collapse up on him, and then Duren is open for an easy lob. Or same thing on the open three as well. If you get the defense to shift just enough, we've seen Jaden Ivey be able to command that kind of attention to find extra shots and lift open the ability for other guys as well. That's not Derrick White's game. So you're bringing him in, not again, he would have the experience as being somebody that's, battle tested in the postseason, but he doesn't give you anything that you don't already have on the team. It would keep Cade Cunningham in a heliocentric situation where teams can still double him. And if Cade can find Derrick White, you're just going to pray and hope that he's knocking down around 39 or 38, however many, 40% of his shots from three to take advantage of that extra attention. And if he's cold or if he's not doing that, you just got Cade gassed trying to play 1-on-5 or 1-on-2, 1-on-3, however much extra attention he's bringing. You would have that because you don't have anybody else to relieve that pressure for him. Ivy was doing that for him last season. There were games, even the last game where Ivy played in, Ivy was the leading scorer for the Pistons. Cade was not. There were spots in games where if Cade was not even on the floor, Ivy was able to carry the bucket. We saw him win the game winner against Toronto where he, I think, was the leading scorer, made the game-winning floater, just right by the rim. And we've also seen with Cade on the floor, Ivy be their number one scorer or their hot hand where it doesn't all have to be on Cade to take 20, 25 shots a game. That's valuable to have. To me, that's more valuable to have based on how the Pistons roster is right now. I don't understand the thought of bringing in somebody like Derrick White, who, again, has never been a generator on his own. He's not necessarily an offensive playmaker for everybody else around him. Like, I don't think teams are looking at the Boston Celtics roster and saying, how do we stop Derrick White today? No, they're looking at Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They're looking at one of the two. How can we take one of those two away, or at the very least, stay on the perimeter and make sure White and all their other shooters don't go crazy? Because he has the benefit of playing with guys like Peyton Pritchard, who's a sniper, Porzingis, who's a sniper, Drew Holiday, who's a good shooter. They have shooters all around, even with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who's shown the ability to be great shooters as well. He has the ability of playing around all-stars or superstars and championship level players, unlike Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. That's not how the Pistons roster is set up. They were thriving with guys that were just starting to get to know each other, that were thriving on camaraderie and thriving on chemistry to better themselves as a team. They didn't have that championship level experience, even with their coaching staff. They had a brand new core, a brand new roster around them, and they found themselves getting better and better as each month was going on. And this was without Asar Thompson as well. If I'm not mistaken, we didn't see a single game, maybe like a couple minutes of the rotation lineup between Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, Tobias Harris, and Jalen Duren. Those are the 5 most important names for the Pistons if you were going to start a lineup based on what the roster looked like last season. They weren't able to run that because of the injuries to Jaden Ivey in his leg and Asar Thompson with the blood clot injury or the situation that he was dealing with. Knowing that, it would make absolutely no sense to break that down at this point after finally getting a taste of playoff success for the first time in 5 years, after finally getting a victory in the postseason for the first time since 2008 against the New York Knicks. You don't break that down for a guy like Derrick White, who's 31 years old and really only specializes in a couple different areas. Is he capable of doing some certain things? Yeah. I'm not saying he's a one-trick pony, but he doesn't consistently get looked at as a primary initiator for the Boston Celtics. That's just not how they play. So if you were to take away Jaden Ivey for a guy like him, I think it's a lateral move at best. It's a lateral move at best. You may get one playoff series where he's hot and they may be able to beat, whoever their first round opponent is. But are they now shoe-ins for the postseason or to contend for a title? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Even if you were to take away the draft picks, because again, the deal was Ivy and 2 future firsts. That's already way too much. But if you were to just go player for player, I still don't think it makes sense based on what this team needs. They need another creator immediately for Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons to thrive offensively. More than anything else, I believe. They could use, some more shooting. They could use an improvement in defense. They could use maybe, I believe, an improvement at the stretch forward position. But more than anything, they need another offensive engine that can take some pressure off of Cade Cunningham. So he's not constantly gassed by the fourth quarter. So he's not playing in playoff games where he's getting exhausted in the third and fourth quarter because he's getting so much extra attention drawn his way. You need to find guys that can relieve that pressure away from him. And Jaden Ivey has been the best guy to do that. There's nobody else on the roster right now, even if the trade aside, there's nobody else on this roster that's consistent and dynamic enough to where you could rely on them more than Jaden Ivey to help with that offensive pressure. I just don't believe so. Asar Thompson has not been consistent enough. Jalen Duren is not a guy that you throw the ball to on the block to go get his own. The shooters are really just shooters for the Pistons, outside of maybe Tobias Harris, who did a good job of finding ways to balance his own shot. But he, like Derrick White, are getting a little bit older in their career at this point. If I'm not mistaken, I think Tobias is coming up to his 13th or 14th season. So you need to start finding some younger legs to kind of make up for that. And I don't really see the benefit of bringing in somebody like Derrick White to be the answer for that question. Like, I don't see it at all. Again, I don't know what the hell y'all see in this dude, Derrick White. Again, the term impact on winning, because people keep saying the same thing on Twitter. Oh, he's a championship level player. Oh, he impacts the game in a winning fashion. Yeah, that's easy to do when you're on a championship contender that just won 60 plus games. That won 50 plus before that, or 60 plus before that, or won the title before that the year before. And guess what? Even when they still did that, he still wasn't your second best player. Maybe not even your third. Maybe not even their third. That's debatable. I'm not a Celtics fan, so I'll let the Celtics fans debate that. The point of the matter is, if he were to come to the Pistons, he has to become something that he has not consistently been in his career at 31 years old now at this point. That does not make any damn sense in any way, shape, or form. The Pistons are better off riding off with who they have. Now, that doesn't mean you need to keep the band together forever. I'm not saying that. It's rare, like I said before, to keep all drafted players together for the entire 10 years of their career. That just doesn't happen. However, at this point, considering how much youth they have, again, Cade is going into his 5th season next year. Ivy will be going to his 4th off of injury, and a lot of other guys the same. 3rd for Asar. Everyone's still young. You haven't seen these guys collectively play well enough for long enough to say, okay, it's time to break this thing down. Especially if you're just going to get some, again, lateral pieces for a guy like Derrick White. If I'm running the Pistons and I'm trying to make a move that makes me a step forward, takes them a step forward, I'm going to get somebody like Trey Murphy. I'm going to get a guy that can create his shot anywhere on the floor, play some defense, has that star level ceiling. Derrick White does not have a star level ceiling at this point. He's very good at what he does, and that's all that teams have asked him to do. He hasn't been asked to do more because that's not his game. Jaden Ivey took on a lot of responsibility and has taken on a lot of responsibility through his career, through Cade's injuries, through new coaching staffs, new rosters around him. He's had to adapt a lot. And even through all that adapting, he still has found a way to be a productive player and improve in every single area of his game thus far. I don't know what you guys are seeing in Derrick White, but it's got to stop. You got to relax. I just don't see this thing with Derrick White at all. But hit me up in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Talk to me and let me know what you would think. If this is a good idea for the Pistons. If it is, let me know. If it's not, let me know. I would love to hear your opinions in the comment section. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate the time. Yeah, it's going to be a long off season. A lot of these kind of crazy ideas, and we'll be here to talk about it all right here on Top Title Detroit. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend, subscribe to the channel, and lock in with us right here so we can grow the community, grow the viewership. I would really appreciate that love, man. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see you again soon right here on Top Title Detroit. Peace.